Oh, well, I wanted to do this for the group. So, since I was asked this question that how do you read a putt? And here's the thing, you read it straight. Now, I understand that people will be confused by that answer because most people say, what? Because the putting gurus doesn't teach you that. Whatever names they have, how famous they are, and how reputational, that's, you know, that's what you do. Now, I understand that people then are so accustomed to adjust and try to adapt to what they're told. I tell you to read it straight. And most people then go, well, I don't want to do that. That's what happens. I don't want to do that. And I said, why not? Because the next question I get is typically, in this case was, how do you read it, what do you do with the break? And I go, what do you mean? Break? Because people who tell you that, they don't know what they're telling you actually. Because if you read the break, what you're going to do with it? It actually makes your brain confused because now you have two different options here. One, you read the break, one, you're supposed to read the line on the ground that doesn't exist. But because I've been walking on greens and there is no line there. So they tell you to do something that's called, hallucinations. So you have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to visualize the line, and that's hallucinations, by the way. There is no line. And that makes this shit more complex. You can't do that shit. So what the T2 proofs are basically just shit, because it's too fucking stupid to do. It's just too stupid. Because your brain then has to do two things at the same time and start to, interchange and shift between those, should I, read the break, should I read, all that stuff. I mean, Adam Scott couldn't read his putt on the day he won the Masters. He couldn't read it. The caddy, however, could. So thanks to the caddy, he's a good guy, by the way, very famous in Australia, and he read the line. He did read the line correctly. And Adam Scott, lucky enough, did trust that guy and made a putt, and the rest is, as they say, history. But if he had made a putt, he most likely wouldn't have made it. And then we don't know how would have. There will be a playoff, and who knows who would have won then. So I tell people to do things, and I don't expect them to change that. I don't expect you to adapt to that instruction. You read the putt straight, that's it. And if you want to do something else, and let me ask you this question, okay, do you have 22 to 26 putts around? And people go, no, I don't. Well, then do what I tell you. And the next question, that's why I love doing this stuff. So Marcus, hello. You just replied on my screen here. That's why I love doing this shit. I have tea cooking and brewing also. So he asked me this question, how should one putt on an incline green? You putt straight. That's all you do. There is no one in the history of golf that had putted with a curve all the time. Well, there is some people who actually did that and actually made it a little bit more difficult. But if you do things consistently, you learn to read for that and compensate for that. But here's the thing: you read the putt straight, you hit you putt straight. That's it. That's all it is to putting. If you do anything else like that, and if your brain goes, well, I have to do something else than that, then you don't know how to putt that well. So you can listen to what I say and apply that, because that's what when Hans asked me questions like that, and I told him read the putt straight, and he was like, what? I started doing that, and he started to putt better, and that was after he won the national championship in putting back in 2013. He won the national putting championship in Sweden with old putting, but I told him to change, and I actually would like him to do a little bit heavier putter, because it's easier to have feel with a heavier putter, center putter. You need to use a center putter if you're going to do wrist putting. You can't do toe to heel putting. A putter, when you hold it, well, if you put your weight, the putter head will go like that if it's a toe heel, and if it's a center putter, it will be more like that. So you want a center putter for wrist putting. So Marcus, what you do is you putt straight, whatever the way the shit the green is like. And people tell me you can't do that, and I say all you fucking do is hit a straight fucking putt. But if you try to read a break, you can't putt. And you confuse your brain. And the problem for putting gurus is that they don't know this shit, because when I say to people, what I tell people to do, they can't tell you because they don't know that. So if they don't know that and they don't teach you that, most people then assume, well, if I'm saying something, then people assume that, well, it can't be correct then. And I go, well, have you tried it? Well, Geoff Putnam or whatever, golfing guru, they don't teach you that. And I said, well, if you do what they teach you, how do you putt? Well, like shit. And I go, there you go, it doesn't work that well. And people go, well, it has to work because they... No, what happens in the field is this. They teach you something that's too fucking complex. Number two is, then you struggle with that shit. Two pros do it too, yes, you know it. Then you have to come back to them to get an update to be fixing whatever they was teaching you that is too fucking complex. Now you have a circle of shit, right? It's never ending story. Merry-go-round, whatever you call it, it just keep going, it just keep going. When they come to me, I tell them what to do and they do it, and I have no problem. They don't need to come back, to it. And some people will say, well, that's because you talk a lot of, strange words like fuck, or shit. No, it's because if you understand this, you don't need lessons anymore. Hans doesn't ask me for a lot of questions. He does now and then, but not much. But I tell him, okay, what are you doing? Okay, what do you want to do? And he tells me what do you want to do. Sometimes I have to adjust that for him. Well, that's wrong. I said, you should do it that way. And he's kind of doing this. Well, I don't think so. Well, go try it. And he goes try it and said, it works. Yeah, I know. And then he asks me, the obvious question. No, he doesn't. I wish he did sometimes, but he doesn't. One of my students many years ago, I was doing a class, a workshop, and I was giving them an instruction what to do, and one of the guys who was there, I was telling them the same thing that I was telling the others, but I had to tell it in the reverse order, and because he didn't understand my instruction. So some people don't like that. So one of my students, she's actually on the Facebook group, Bodil. Hi Bodil, if you'll watch this. Most likely not. She does not need to golf. And now she asked me the question, how did you know what to do? I said, well, 2 hours ago he said this. And I told her what he was saying. And that means that he understands things in a particular order. The problem for you as a golfer, an amateur or tuber, whatever, is that you don't know that you have to adapt to everything people teach you. And you still learn and so adapted to do this. When I tell you what to do, people don't go, okay, then they go do it. They go, but that's not what the putting guru teaches you. Well, how does it work? How does that shit work? Well, it doesn't work, but do what I tell you. And people go, well, I don't feel comfortable with that. If I go out there and make everything, I feel kind of bad because it seems easier. There was one guy, when Hans was practicing putting a couple of years ago, one guy came up to him and started to tell him about this invention he was doing about the putting stance and all that other stuff. And Hans said, well, it doesn't matter. So Hans just made a few different putting stances. He made 10-meter putts, And the guy walked away because Hans was doing something that he couldn't explain. Now, what I do here is very, very basic stuff. That's so efficient, so effective. Because once you understand this, you don't need putting lessons. You don't need golfing lessons. Whenever my golfing video will be finished next year. Because you will understand how the golfing works. There is no secret. There is no mystery. There is no, people will still try to make it a mystery, but it won't be because you will have the information that goes, oh yeah, that's how it works. Ben Hogan had no clue, by the way. Sam Steve, gone with the wind. And that's a problem in the world. It's just not just golf. It's tennis also and other sports. If you don't understand, what happens is that you will add a concept, and when you add that concept, your brain goes to construct that. But that information is not real. It's just a construct, like reading a line. There is no fucking line there. As soon as the people tell you, read the line, your brain goes hallucinate. Now that means that you add in a construction to what you're supposed to do. That means you remove from the source of information you're supposed to pay attention to. When a few years back, I was with Hans and I told him to do something on the button green. He almost did puke actually. You know, like that for 5 fucking minutes, because it took him 5 fucking minutes to get to the, you know, focusing on the task, and he basically was making everything that day. And he couldn't understand that because no, the challenge then obviously is to make him keep on doing that for the next day and the next day and the next day. But you need to understand that what you need to do. And when I tell people to do things, I mean I tell them to do that. I don't tell them to, you know, make an assumption that you should adapt to this instruction. Do not do that. Then it won't work. Like Jeremy understood that when he was, oh, you focus on the task. Yeah, that makes sense. Once Jeremy got that, he knew better. You need to know what you're to focus on. So, Marcus, I hope this helps, and everybody else also. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sweden, a fucking winter cold night. And I just made this so you could have something to look at. And the screen turned off. So it's time for me to make some tea. Have fun out there. If you have any more questions, let me know. This is so fun. Bunch.